Hello, I am Sandy Taylor, and I am a member of the Kansas Authors Club. Currently, I am serving as president of District 5. When I was a new member of Kansas Authors Club, I didn't realize how many things and how much information were offered by the club. So I today am going to run you through a couple of things that took me a while to fully appreciate what Kansas Authors Club has to offer. First of all, I would like to mention the yearbook. The yearbook is available both in print and digital form, but this yearbook gives you lots of information. You can learn who your board members are, your state board members, your district board members. You learn a little bit about the convention, also a listing of members in your district. In there, every year, each Kansas Authors Club member has an opportunity to provide a one-page piece of their writing, which can either be poetry or prose, and they can submit it for publication in the yearbook. It's a great opportunity to get your writing out there. Today, I'm talking specifically, though, about the information that they offer about the writing contest. Each year, Kansas Authors Club has a book contest and a writing contest and a youth writing contest. And I would like to highlight how you go about entering those and information, where you can gain information for them. In last year's yearbook, in yearbook for 2023, on page number 61, there is the starting of the information about the writing contest. In this particular page, it says, it starts off and it lists the different contests. This one starts on poetry. For example, for the Whimsy Poetry Contest, it tells you that 29 entries were made in that contest. It tells you the name of the judge and the qualifications of the judge. Then it goes down and it says first place, second place, third place, and honorable mentions. It mentions 2 honorable mentions. And each one of the winners in that category, the name of the poem and the name of the poet are given. And it does that for each one of the adult writing contest entries. There's a lot more information in there. So I get both the digital and the print form because I like going through, and I don't know whether you can see it or not, but I have marked several places in my book that I refer back to on a regular basis. Now, specifically today, I want to talk to you about the writing contest and the book contest. So I'm going to share my screen, and I have pulled up Kansas Authors Club. This is the homepage. Here, if you go down the menu, there is the book awards. They're mentioned, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 book awards. We're going to first of all go to the Kaufman Memorial Book Award. When I click on that, it comes up, gives you a little information, tells you when it's open. You can click there to find out the names of the previous winners. It describes the award here. It tells you that it's $100 to the winner. Also, if you go on down, it gives you information about the contest. It is open to Kansas Authors Club members. It must be a minimum of 50 pages in length, and so on. And you can read all of the information there, specific information. Down here are the printable guidelines for that. Another one of the book awards is the Nelson Poetry Book Award. Of course, this one has to be about poetry. You again have a $100 award, and it talks about that it must be a minimum of 50 pages. It has to be published, and this is true of all the books, within the 2 years prior to this year. It is intended for a Kansas poet, and there are not to be any prose selections. And it goes on and gives you the things that you need to know about entering it. The Martin Kansas History Book Award is another interesting category. It has to be a minimum of 50 words in length. And specifically, I pay attention to this number 4, and it seems like these kind of details always come up on number 4. But it says the subject of the book must be Kansas history. Any factual account of any phase of Kansas history, no fiction and not a genealogy. And so that gives you an idea of what's there. And again, you can read the detailed information. One of the things that I like about, whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. Here we are. One of the things I like about it is when you look at these, you can click on the side and you can find a page that will give you a picture of the ones who have won and the names of the people who have won. Let's next look at the Children's Book Award. Again, you have the information up here at the top that's given about it. Your award is $100. And number 4, the book must be intended for young readers. This category includes everything from illustrated books to for pre-readers to chapter books written with a preteen or teen audience in mind. Young adult novels should be entered in the Kaufman Award contest. So it gives you some specifics. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you is that you can, when you come down to look at these different book awards, it has a little drop down menu or drop out menu. And if you wanted to know the winners, you could click on that also. So you can get to the winners from a couple of different ways if you want to know what has won in the past. Then our last category is It Looks Like a Million. This is for book design. And it's open to any Kansas Authors Club member, number 1. It must be a minimum of 50 pages and published within the last couple of years. The contest is for books, number 4, by independent authors. For example, the author of the book, a KAC member, must be the primary decision maker for production, including design and layout of the book. Authors may have hired designers, layout editors, and so on. And it gives you those bits of information. It will tell you that on number 8, as with all of the others, that it will be, the awards will be presented at the annual convention in October. Let's look at writing contests. The writing contests, the first part that we're going to look at is the poetry chapbook contest. This is a relatively new contest. The chapbooks, there are 2 different categories that they've developed. There's the craft chapbooks, which are basically homemade ones. It tells you the limit of 52 pages. You can use hand binding, even a stapler, and so on. So anybody can enter this. This does not have to be a polished, published book. The published chapbooks, though, come in the separate category via a small press or a local printer, a print on demand. You can use any of those. It says, keep in mind that chapbooks should have a unifying thread. Only chapbooks published in the last 2 years. Unlike the other writing contests, this is not a blind one. The writing contest we're going through in just a minute will be blind contests, but this one will have the author's name on it, etc. And again, you can read that. Notice down here at the bottom, and you will find this on all of the writing contests, either at the bottom or the top, that you can click here for printable guidelines. These guidelines I've gone through, you can get them in print format. And I don't know about you, but it really helps me when I'm working on contests to have those guidelines printed out in front of me so I can check. Yes, I did that one. Yes, I did that one. Yes, I did that one. Oops, I need to work on that. Okay, back up here to contests. The next one we're going to take a look at is the youth contest guidelines. See, there's the printable guidelines right there. We have 4 age divisions, grades 3 through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 12. There are 3 categories in each age division. There's poetry, which has 40 lines. There is fiction up to 800 words, and there is nonfiction up to 800 words. So you have 3 categories in 4 age divisions. It goes through several of the requirements there. It tells the information that must be given and how to give it. It tells when it's open. All of our writing contests are open from April 1 through June 15th every year. General information for entering, the prizes, they are also given at the October ceremony as part of the convention. Then you have to have permission from the parents for printing of the winners' names and the categories. But all of that is found in the instructions. Just read them carefully. And I again suggest you print them out so you know exactly that you have followed directions. Because as in any contest, if you don't follow the directions, if you don't follow the guidelines, you are immediately disqualified. Now, we're to the adult contest. There is a printable PDF form for the guidelines. I always print this out, and on my printout, I keep a list of the names or the titles of the pieces of writing that I submit. The theme contest always gets a little extra money. It's $50, $25, and $15 for the top 3 prizes. The rest of the categories get $25, $15, and $10 for the categories. Honorable mentions are never receive any monetary award. Sometimes the categories will change a little bit from year to year. They're fairly stable, but sometimes they will change. So you always need to check those. Sometime after January the 1st, they will come out and list the categories for the next year. First of all is our theme category. This year it is A Moment to Write, and it can either be fiction or nonfiction, a limit of 1,500 words. Humor is fiction or nonfiction, a limit of 1,000 words. Memoir or inspirational, it is a nonfiction piece and a limit of 1,500 words. Flash fiction has to be less than 500 words. There's a limit there. It's called flash fiction. Stories written for young readers. Now, when you write a story for your young reader, you have to designate what age group it is for. Is it for early readers of 5 to 7, middle grades of 8 to 12, or young adult 14 through 19? The entries may be fiction or nonfiction, and the limit is 1,000 words. Any genre is fine in there. The short story category is fiction, and it's limited to 1,500 words. Playwriting is an interesting category. It can either be fiction or nonfiction. Some specific requirements on this: a total of 4 pages for Act 1, Scene 1, and additional information can be single-spaced. The script must include the title, the descriptions of cast, scenes, time, era, settings, etc. And they give you this wonderful PDF for you to know what that looks like, because they want a very specific form. And here it is. I submitted a play for the first time this year, and this is, I use this every detail on here, and it gives you just the first page. It shows you what the first page will look like, and then you can do the additional pages. No more than 3 additional pages for your play. So that gives you that wonderful bit of helpful detail if you have not written a play before, or even if you have, that's the format they want. The first chapter of the book, fiction or nonfiction book, seems to be a fairly popular category that we have entries in because everybody likes to write their books. It is a limit of 2,000 words. It must be from an unpublished work, a work in progress, or a manuscript that you're working on, you can include a 500-word synopsis. Another new category that we have, or a new category that we have, is the Rural Voices category. And I'm really excited about that. It's promoting rural living or rural experiences. It can be fiction or nonfiction, and it's limited to 1,500 words. Those are all the prose categories. The poetry categories, you again have one for the theme. The theme contest this year is A Moment to Write, and it can be any one of the poetry writing forms, but it must meet the length limits as the categories given below. For example, they give whimsy is limited to 20 lines. If you write a whimsical poem with a theme, A Moment to Write, it can't be any more than 20 lines. The second category we have is classical poetry, and that can be sonnet, blank verse, and so on. The free verse is limited to 40 lines. A narrative poem is limited to 40 lines. Whimsy, we've already mentioned, is limited to 20 lines. Japanese poetry, those basically have their own limits. Performance poetry is kind of a fun category. And this is a video where the author is performing their own poetry. The video can be no more than 3 minutes, and it can include music or singing, but that has to be no more than 1 minute. They give the format that the video must be presented in. New poets, I'm kind of excited about this one. I have not won a poetry contest at KAC before, and so if you are new, have not won a first, second, or third place in a KAC poetry writing contest, you can enter. It's a 40-line limit, and it's specifically for people like me who are not experienced poets, but kind of like dabbling in it anyway. So we'll see how I do this year with my entries. Rural Voices poetry category is again like the one in prose, as poetry celebrating rural living, rural Kansas living, anything rural. Now, there are some specific guidelines that basically apply to all of them. The contest is open to non-member writers residing in Kansas and to current members of Kansas Authors Club, no matter where they live. All entries are to be original works and cannot have been published either electronically or a hard copy in any way, shape, or form. They note that the chapbook is the exception to that rule. Entries that have won first, second, or third place in previous KAC contests are not eligible. However, if they have won an honorable mention, you can resubmit that piece. Each entrant can enter up to five entries per category. So I could have 5 rural prose pieces. I could have 5 whimsy poems. And you get the picture. So up to 5 in each category. You pay, if you're a KAC member, you pay $5 for each entry. If you're non-member, it's $8. They tell us that judges are not members of KAC. They try and keep it where the judges do not have any knowledge of who the entrants are. You have to make your entry through Kansas Authors Club, a submittable form, and we will go through that in just a few minutes. The instructions for entering prose and poetry categories, they give the formats, doc, docx, PDF, and so on that may be used. You are to use a standard font of, for example, Times New Roman and 12 point. Prose pieces must be double-spaced with normal margins. Your name, address, or anything that would identify you cannot be on the piece. Basically, the rest of this stuff, you can just read it and pretty well get what you need to know. If you have a specific question, we have our poetry contest manager and our prose contest manager form here that you can get in contact with him. At this particular time, I'm going to go back and I could click on the submittable here, or I could click on the submittable up here, and it will take me to the submittable site. Now, you have to have a password and a username and a password for submittable. Once you have that, anytime you submit anything through KAC, your membership dues, any writing contest, a piece for the Kansas Authors Club, yearbook, etc., you do it through this particular thing. And they always have a link, so it's real easy to find. You just go to the website and click on the appropriate link. First of all, I want to point out the zine submissions. We have a new KAC e-zine, which is called Writing from the Center. It's going to be first published this year, and so the first entries are due June 1st. However, they're going to publish it again in the future, and if you keep an eye on that when they are accepting new entries, this will pop up again and it will give you a new due date. Let's look at the guidelines on this. Basically, it says that you have to be a Kansas Authors Club member. You can enter. That's on the eligible down here. I knew it was on there. I just lost it. Eligible writers and artists. Any current member of the Kansas Authors Club may submit at no cost. Non-members must pay a $5 reading fee. So if you're a non-member, you pay a reading fee. Now, up here, these are the things you can enter. Up to 6 poems. Fiction, 1 entry, 3,500 words. Creative nonfiction, 1 entry, 3,500 words. And visual arts, you can submit up to 3 pieces. Again, all of this must be unpublished work if you are going to submit. Now, that's not what I'm going to do today. I am going to submit, I have a new writer's piece. I told you that I have not won any writing contests with my poetry before. So I am going to submit a poem. Here, again, if I need to know the guidelines, they're right there. I can find it. So I'm going to go to submit. It wants my information, and I've already, if my computer provided it. Okay, this is for the new poets. The title of the piece is Watering Flowers. Oops. Watering Flowers. My full name, the author name that I go by is Sandy Lee. My mailing address, it will ask me for that. Okay, and my telephone number, my email address. Go down the district. I belong to District 5. And it's going to tell me to choose the file, of which I will do. Let me go down. I have it specifically named so I can find it real fast. It will upload that. Now, if it's a piece that you can requires, like for the first chapter of a book, and you can put a synopsis with it, it will give you an option to both submit the first chapter and the synopsis all in one operation. Okay, the fee, I'm going to select a fee. I am a KAC member, so it's $5. I continue to payment. It has my card information, pay, and you see I've submitted a piece or two in the past. And there it goes, success. You'll receive updates from Submittable by email to ensure you receive the notifications, follow these steps, and so on. Anyway, it comes right through the email. If I would click on my email right now, I would have a email from Submittable saying that I had successfully submitted that. Now, the other thing that, and I don't, the other thing that you can do, and I can't easily get to it from right there, when you go into Submittable, if you actually just go into Submittable, you can see all the pieces that you have submitted in the past, the pieces that are actively in Submittable. There's a place there where the judges can leave you a message, and they're all tabs that you click in Submittable. So you can go to Submittable itself and check in and learn a lot. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and we hope to see you at convention in October.